Hello and welcome to Hard Line Rugby, the channel focusing on rugby union in the Americas. With the last two teams taking their bye weeks, all teams would have now completed 9 of the 16 matches of the season. As we have passed the midway mark, every game can now be the difference between making the playoffs and missing out on the championship. This is a review of Major League Rugby 2021, Round 10. Taking place on a Wednesday of all days, the two Guild teams faced each other at Bold Stadium in the first round of the Cocktail Classic. Each team had the best defensive stats in the league so far, with a challenge to see which team would crack first. It was the New Boys to get the first score, with Lindsay Stevens able to get the first try after picking up a loose ball and noticing a player out of position in order to get over the try line. The game went without another score for 20 minutes until LA committed a penalty prior to the ball being held up over the line. Mac Mason, with ease, slotted the penalty to ensure his team had something to show from a half of defence. It was relatively early in the second half when LA struck again. Angus Cottrell was able to run straight through the ruck before offloading to John Ryberg, who after a struggle was able to get LA's second try of the game. Austin were valiant in their attack, but simply could not break through the Guild team defence. In the end, a penalty for LA ended any hope for the home side to score again in a match defined by defensive work following a 4-day turnaround. While LA takes the win, Austin can boast that they are the first team in MLR to deny the Guild teamies any bonus points. New Orleans returned to the gold mine, ready to host Utah, with both teams looking for another win. The Gold cashed in on scoring early as the ball was passed to Julian Dominguez, who found a gap and ran through for the first try of the game. 4 minutes later, the Warriors got their first goal with a penalty after a New Orleans player didn't roll away from the ruck in time. In the 17th minute, Utah took a line-out but overthrew the ball. Pat O'Toole was first to get his hands on it and ran in for the Gold's second try of the match. The Warriors were able to get back into the game with some sublime offloading, which allowed Thomas Tuaveo to make a break before offloading to Michael Basker for the visitors' first try. Utah followed it up with their second when the ball was passed out to the back partnership of Mika Kruse and Mikey Teo, who was able to go the distance and with no NOLA player able to stop him, was able to get a 7-pointer and the lead of the match. With the last play of the half, New Orleans got a penalty, with Holden Younger splitting the sticks to reduce the deficit to 2 points. The second half scoring began with an old classic, the driving maul from the line-out. Pat O'Toole got his second and returned the lead back to the home side. The Gold extend their lead further. Inches from the Utah try line, the pick and go wasn't effective against the Warriors' defence. Spotting a chance, the ball was passed out to Carl Rogers, who scored the try and secured the bonus point as well. With 7 minutes to go, Utah used the Gold's successful tactics to score themselves. The driving maul could not be stopped, as Veremalo Rugakoto laid down to get the Warriors within the score. Utah were unable to add to their total before the match ended. A tight contest in New Orleans, but it's the Gold that walks away with the winner's share. At the same time, at the Aviva Stadium, Old Glory were being welcomed by the Sabercats, with the home side looking to get back to winning ways. The rainy conditions made handling errors a certainty, as the first points weren't scored until the 10-minute mark, when Sam Windsor kicked a penalty. It took another 10 minutes for a second score as Windsor slotted another penalty, doubling their lead but still within a score. DC got on the scoreboard 5 minutes later, when from the driving maul, the ball was knocked back. Danny Tusitala picked up to score the try. The conversion was wide, but the deficit was now 1 point. Houston held off DC until the 36th minute, where they were caught offside. Jason Robertson's kicked the penalty to give the visitors the lead. In the second half, Old Glory appeared to have control of the ball even while in their own 22. However, the wet conditions spilled the ball out, and Adrian Boyerson found it first running under the post for a 7-pointer as Houston reclaimed the lead. Old Glory soon responded with a try of their own. The pick-and-go method was being held up by the Sabercats, so with the defence sucked in, Robertson passed to Mike DeBollis on the wing to return the lead to the visitors. Robertson added another penalty to his kicking duties to extend the lead further. With 10 minutes to go, Houston had an opportunity. Fernanda Schultz took a player out in the air and was red-carded. However, the Sabercats couldn't capitalise. When Robertson scored a drop goal, Houston were placed out of bonus point range. Another home loss to Houston, while DC get a second win, to build momentum. After both teams suffered losses in the previous round, New York and New England looked to regain ground as the familiar sports rivalry reignited once more. Rooney got the ball moving with the driving maul from the line-out, and the Free Jacks were unable to stop Dylan Fawcett from getting the first try. New York followed it up with a second as the ball was passed out to Joel Miranda on the wing, who ran in for his team's second try of the match. The Free Jacks soon got on the board from their own line-out, as Joe Johnson got his body low enough to avoid tacklers to score the first try for the visitors. New York tried to use the driving maul once more, but when New England, aware of their tactics, they were unable to get the ball over the line. Instead, with the defence in one location, they passed the ball out, before finding the hands of Apanisa Kakabulava, who ran in unopposed for another try to the Roosters. 5 minutes from half-time, New England produced an amazing play. From a line-out inside their own half, the maul was formed and the Free Jacks drove it into New York's half, up to their 22-metre line, before Wian Comrade peeled off and sprinted over for a well-earned try. At the start of the second half, despite New England having possession, New York turned it over, passed out to the hands of Harry Bennett, who got his team's fourth try of the match, securing the bonus point as well, much to the delight of the home fans. 7 minutes later, New England responded with their own try. Inches from the line, Conradi took an interesting approach, launching himself down the middle of the ruck and over into the try zone to reduce the deficit to New York. 9 minutes from the end, Rooney put the game away. Another driving maul from the lineout and the Free Jacks couldn't stop Fawcett from scoring his second try. This round of the old rivalry goes to New York, although New England will get another bite of the cherry later this season. Back home, Seattle hoped that Starfire would become their fortress again against the on-fire Atlanta side. The Seawolves scored first with a penalty from AJ Alatimu, before ATL were able to break the defensive line and have Batista Escuro run in for a 7-point turn. Seattle closed the gap with another penalty from AJ Alatimu, but 2 minutes later it was the visitors in the ascendants. Another quick line break had Jonah Momsen run in for another try to Atlanta, and the gap widened again. With 5 minutes to go in the half, Atlanta used the driving maul from the line-out to once again cripple the Seawolf, as Van Rensburg was the man who got the ball down to give the visitors a remarkable lead. In the second half, Seattle were desperate to get a try to swing momentum in their way, but despite their best efforts and with Ross Deacon in the sin bin, the incredible defence from the Rattlers prevented them from crossing the try line. With 5 minutes left, Atlanta sealed their victory, when a punt kick put the ball past the Seattle defence once more, and into the hands of Escura, who secured the try bonus point. A disappointing loss for Seattle for their bye week, while Atlanta continues to add venom to their bite.
They're not doing much. They got to be a little bit more cognizant of those half gaps. And it's like Basket looking to relief here.
Ellingson looking dangerous on that last run there. Looked like he was just a step off from a major breakthrough. Here they come now out at the edge. There's Cruze. He's got Teo. Teo's breaking away now. He's turning on the Jets. He's got one to beat. He does. It looks like he's taking it all the way. Mikey Teo dots it down under the uprights. Clears the pitch, Jeffrey. Gets the handoff from his favorite partner out there in the back. Mika Cruze over to Mikey Teo for the Warriors try.
Good use of the ball here. Bang, bang, bang. Straighten up your defender. Again, really bad defense from New Orleans in the interior. Just kind of, you see the hips turn. Interesting angle taken by the last defender here, and Mikey Teo.
These are my predictions for round 11. What are your predictions for round 11, and what was your favourite match of round 10? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification to stay up to date on all the videos for Hard Line Rugby. As always, my name is Stuart, and thanks for watching.